Okay. Well, if one of our clients just gets a configuration management tool and installs the tool and has all the users from now on, just tell them, okay, from now on, once you save something, just save it into the version control system. Don't save it as you used to do, save as, but just check in everything and check out everything. Then, is this enough?
Probably not, to be honest. That's a very good question, because unfortunately I've seen too many, I've had too many experiences with companies that would purchase a tool and they didn't have a solid process to support the tool. They would just give the tool to their engineers, tell them use it, and that wouldn't be enough, to be honest. From the viewpoint that even the best tool in the world cannot be fully leveraged without a process.
Yeah.
So when I teach CMMI, as you look at here on the chart here, all of these process areas focus primarily on process.
Yeah.
And when I'm teaching CMMI, I also like to point out that process improvement is a three-sided triangle. The process side that CMMI addresses talks about good processes, but it's also required that you have good people, that you have good technology, good tools. So process improvement in a very, very good company, you'll have a combination of process, people, technology. So that's where just having the tool, just having the process, just having the people is not, or independently is not good enough. You really need to have a program that understands that we holistically want to tie those good people with the process and with the tool. So many times when I'm working with organizations, my primary focus is on the process aspect.
Okay.
Okay.
Wayne,
Yes.
one simple question. How do we start a process improvement initiative?
Okay, very good. What most companies do is they start out, first of all, by getting their people trained in CMMI so that they understand at least a little bit about the model.
Yeah.
Then management typically puts some people in charge. At level 2, it's not required to be full-time, but it's very helpful if they are. But the focus with those people is to start up a formal process improvement program.
Yeah.
With the focus being on implementing your first 7 process areas. There's usually a requirement to develop the processes. Define how are you going to document the processes. Will you use a tool? Will you document it in flow charts, what they call swim lane diagrams, things like that.
Yeah.
So the process has to be documented, step 2. Step 3 would primarily be training and implementing inside the organization, getting the projects to actually use the process. Then, as they move along, many times I work with companies, I'm going in and just ascertaining what's their progress, how far have they moved along. The ultimate is to conduct an appraisal where we look at each one of these practices and determine whether the goals have been met in the model.
Yeah.
And that's what, how achievement is made.
Yeah. But how do they actually implement what is required? You said, okay, first they get the model training. Afterwards...
Oh, I left one part out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The part I left out was the diagnosis.
Yeah.
SEI, Software Engineering Institute, developed a process called SCAMPI.
Yeah.
It's Standard CMMI Appraisal Method for Process Improvement. It is a way of diagnosing an organization or do an investigation of how do they map against CMMI practices. In a SCAMPI appraisal, there's 3 different types: Class C, B, and A. Class A is the most rigorous and the most heavy duty and requires the most evidence, and those are the only appraisals that the SEI will allow us to rate the goals and determine what the maturity level is.
Yeah.
Class B has less requirements, and we typically do it with teams, and there's a little less evidence looked at, but we're looking at how well is the program progressing in the implementation of their practices. Class C, the lowest one, is what we typically go into an organization and do to baseline. So a Class C appraisal, when people hear SCAMPI Class C, that means we're working with the organization and doing an investigation. We look at things like, do they have a process? Are the projects using the process, the way the process is described? So you can see in many Class C appraisals, there are a whole host of different issues that surface.
Okay, how is the Class C, the SCAMPI C appraisal conducted?
Oh, okay. That again has a wide degree of flexibility in it. A Class C appraisal can be performed by myself. I'm a certified lead appraiser.
Yeah.
And usually I work with a core team that represents the organization. We do sampling of the projects. We talk to project personnel, project managers, engineers, and it's very, very, I don't want to say informal, but it's less formal.
How is the team composed? What do you mean exactly by representing the organization? What kind of levels people do we have on this team?
Yeah. Typically, we like to look for individuals that know the business real well, that understand how the projects perform internally, the client, the businesses that they're in, the platforms that they're on. So many of the people that we try to identify to be on the appraisal teams or Class C teams are the ones that will potentially be carrying the torch, actually helping implement and write and change the organization to be more formal in the way they do the processes. Yeah. So I spend a lot of time in working with companies in identifying those particular individuals. Then those people typically carry out the journey with the organization.
Could you give me sample roles of people which are chosen on this team? Would they be quality managers? Would they be software engineers? Would they be analysts or senior analysts? Who would you be choosing from?
Okay. To be honest, all of the above. We like to have a very good sampling, if possible, of the different disciplines. And although some of the people may not end up pursuing process improvement or be tagged responsible for the initiative, they still are a great asset in understanding the enactment of the processes on the projects. I will add that most organizations that have been performing ISO, ISO 9000, 2001, typically they're the people from their quality organization are the ones that are identified to be also doing process improvement.